Z released a new update today that makes huge changes to Mahito. His awakening no longer needs you to land a Black Flash, his domain got a huge nerf and a barely noticeable buff, and even more changes were made to the game in both mechanics and visuals. This video will talk about every single change made and my thoughts on them, but before that, make sure to subscribe for more JJS updates and information. Now, let's get into the video. Mahito's awakening animation was reworked, and you no longer need to land a Black Flash to unlock your awakening. There's new effects for players that impact objects at a high velocity. There's a setting to toggle kill sounds. The damage boost from Burst now scales on the amount of players that hit you, giving you a 0.25 times damage multiplier for each player that hits you, capping at 2 times damage. Mahito's domain expansion bar, the one that kills you if it fully drains, will stop draining if the Mahito player is stunned. The range of Mahito's domain effect was increased. Divine Dog's totality now requires line of sight to attack. Traversal animations are tied to your speed. The visuals for Reversal Red Maximum were updated. The visuals for Lapse Blue Maximum were updated. Weekly leaderboards displaying 0 kills for all players was fixed. Never mind, nope it wasn't, still broken. Being able to burst without being stunned was fixed. Finally, a vulnerability that allowed you to freely create chat titles, aka this abomination I'm showing on screen right now, was fixed. Hopefully. To start off the update discussion, let's talk about what I consider to be the biggest change, which is Mahito's awakening conditional being removed. This is huge. It's an absolutely massive buff because it does 3 key things for Mahito. First, it lets him use his awakening whenever he wants, like all the characters, Hikari excluded. That means that if he's in a tight spot and is about to die, he can actually heal himself up by awakening without having to combo someone to land his Black Flash conditional. Or, if he's up against an awakening that's too oppressive for him to land a combo against, he can just awakening instead of basically being forced to use his base to fight another character's awakening. For reference, Mahito's Black Flash basically required you to waste your opponent's ragdoll cancel in order for you to combo into it, and landing it raw was extremely difficult because people could easily get out of the way. Plus, it was too risky since you sacrificed half your awakening if you missed. It wasn't a hard conditional to confirm per se, but it was one that you had to actively go out of your way to get, and you couldn't just press your G button. The second thing it does is that it removes the risk of losing your awakening by missing the Black Flash check, and being sent back to 50%. This is self-explanatory, but it's a buff for sure. And third, it means that you don't have to knock your opponent far away with the Black Flash when going into your awakening, meaning that you can awaken while at a close range to make it harder for people to run. Unlike with the Black Flash, where people were basically knocked 5 miles away from you and could very easily just hightail it out of there if they decided fighting Mahito's mediocre awakening was too much of a hassle for them. I'd say the buff is absolutely fair, since while Mahito didn't struggle to achieve his conditional necessarily, since he had like 4 or more ways to confirm into Black Flash, it still held him back a lot and made his awakening harder to activate, especially when trying to get your awakening against someone who's already awakened and can easily shut you down. It does admittedly remove a really fun and creative gimmick from him, but gameplay-wise, it makes Mahito a lot less sweaty and helps more casual players who were probably too bad at the game to get it previously and actually use his awakening now. It's a good call in my opinion. The kill sound toggle is just a good quality of life change. People really love to put vile stuff as their kill sound, and if I have to hear or again, I will have a brain aneurysm and have an AI take over my channel while I'm dead. It's good for people who don't have headphones so that they don't have to play with their sound off, and I am very, very glad that Z made this change. The burst damage boost change is generally a good call, and that's all there is to really say. Having it scale based on how many people you're fighting helps balance it out a little so that you get more of an advantage depending on how much of a disadvantage you're at in numbers. I do fear groups of 4 teamers using this to get a 2 times damage boost and absolutely demolish some poor casual trying to play the game, but honestly speaking, if Z is determined to stick with burst as its anti-teaming mechanic and doesn't want to use different options like anti-stun or reduced damage, I think this is probably the best path he could have gone with. The thing that generally makes teamers really tough to fight is less that people peel off really stupid and dumb team combos, and more so that people can bail their friends out if they're getting comboed to basically take no damage. But I can't propose a better alternative or solution that still keeps burst as a primary mechanic, so I can't really complain here. The 2 Mahito domain changes, which are increasing the range of the effect and making it so that if Mahito is stunned, the effect stops working, are really interesting. The first change is sort of unnoticeable. It is a range increase, but at that range, you should ideally be M1ing people anyways. However, the second change, which is a nerf, makes it so that for 1, there's an incentive to try and go on the offensive against Mahito in his domain, and for 2, Mahito can't play stupid and just recklessly run at his opponent, because if he gets comboed, the opponent can do some slow M1 BS to keep him stun locked until the domain is over. It's a huge nerf, probably the biggest nerf Mahito's ever gotten, and honestly, it might debatably be a gut. It's really easy to punish someone for playing aggressive, at least if your skill levels are equal, and if the Mahito user doesn't play aggressive in the domain, they can't get any value out of it. I feel like this nerf goes a little bit too far, because while it does mean people can fight back in Mahito's domain, the domain itself isn't really designed around that. It doesn't last long enough for that kind of thing, and I feel like having it forcibly create a game of tag would be better. If anything about it should have been nerfed, I wouldn't mind making the game of tag harder for the Mahito, but this kind of nerf definitely makes the domain way easier to counter while inside it, which sounds good because balance and all that, but isn't actually that good when you consider how all the other domains are pretty much impossible to counter. Who knows really? It's a matter of opinion when it comes to this subject, so let me know what you all think in the comments. The Divine Dogs change is really unnoticeable. In fact, even after testing, I couldn't find any significant change. Let me know in the comments if it's impacting you, but it changes nothing if you're playing normally, and that's a good thing if the update doesn't make anything worse. Finally, the new effects for Lapse Wound Max and Reversal Red Max are great. They're nothing huge, but they do look really cool and enhance the visuals a lot. Nothing to say here. Overall, this update's interesting. Despite how small it is, it changes Mahito pretty heavily, both buffing him by removing the Awakening conditional, and nerfing him by making his domain less of a guaranteed kill. While the nerf might be fair in some regards, it also does make his domain expansion way less strong when compared to other movesets, since it can't really guarantee a kill or damage like Unlimited Void or Malevolent Shrine. Also, while there is an argument to be made that it's made up for by being able to kill Hakari, it's such a specific scenario, limited to one matchup, that it's not really enough of a positive to make it stand on par with the other domains. The range nerf as well isn't the kind of thing that's all too noticeable either, and while I don't think buffing the range is a good idea, it doesn't make up for how big the stun nerf is at the end of the day. It's one of the updates where I don't really have any thoughts that I'm solid on, as in 100% confident that I'm right. So I want to know what you all think. Do you think the buffs and nerfs are good? Do you like the new Mahito changes? Leave it all in the comments down below. Anyways, if you enjoyed watching this video, then make sure to subscribe for more JJS update reviews and content. I'm Noob Eternally, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.